All right, so let's talk about the design on this new Equinox because there's a lot of good stuff here. There's a lot of details that you might have missed. In fact, you might be saying to yourself, why does it look so much better than the previous generation, and why do I want to buy one so bad? So yeah, let's go through it. Of course, we're going to start out with the RS model. This is the top trim, really. It's got all the extra little details that really give it not just not just a good, attractive look, but it's an RS, so it's got to be sporty as well. Now, a lot of this, carries over to the other trims. So, of course, we're going to talk about all the trims here, or all categories of trims. So, but yeah, kind of the dominating feature up front is actually this hood. This hood is incredible. Look at how sculpted the areas that go into and meet up with the fender are. This is like a deep dish cut. So it gives it this like really muscular, athletic, kind of like, broad shoulders, because you kind of see this kind of flare up, don't you? So yeah, and it just defines, really, it kind of defines the whole car. And then for the front end details, it's the design itself is actually very similar to a lot of the models that Chevrolet has had out for years now, like the Trax and the Trailblazer. There's nothing too exciting with it, but there are, again, we're going to talk about the details here. There are some exciting little details. The headlight, we do get these split headlights, of course. So the daytime running lights up high, and then the actual headlights, and even fog lights right there. That's the fog light. These are the headlights. So, there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing too new here, but the way they've kind of done this little detail on the headlight, you can see there's like this little, it's just like this little graphic built into the headlight there. It does kind of modernize it a little bit, but what's really cool, that really tells me the designers, they really tried to pay attention to the little details here and really make this an exciting, something that they were proud of is look at how the headlight, or, this is the daytime running light, but look at how it flows into the bar there. It creates, again, like this little chamfered area. You see that? And guess what? It actually carries down into the bumper here. See that? And then here as well. So it lines up, of course, too. And the overall effect here is it does give it a more mature, refined appearance. And, something, it just looks, actually, it looks a lot better than probably what the price point of this thing is. There's a lot of ugly, expensive cars out there. So, yeah, just a great job from Chevrolet here. And on the side and rear here, it's very attractive as well. The C-pillars, this is kind of the dominating design detail that only goes up about halfway. Of course, you got the contrasting black roof. So if you get a bright color like this, yeah, you're really going to notice that. And again, having the black roof, it just kind of visually lowers this vehicle because you don't notice the roof height as much. And these taillights are actually really cool because they've kind of copied the design as far as the shape goes off of the Traverse, but it's more of a traditional design with the kind of clear section in the middle there. And I think that works. I think that just works a lot better. I mean, yeah, this is the new Traverse, by the way, and you can see it's basically the same shape, but it's all red. It's all red and black, and it's just it's a little overkill, I think. It's nice that they tried something new, but maybe if it was a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, especially the red part. See, that's what I really like here is look how thin when this thing lights up. That's going to really give it a modern look. And then, for aero, yeah, this is just a nice little thing that, we see this a lot. In fact, it's nothing special, but this hard edge around this D pillar, in fact, it just creates a separating edge for the air as it flows past the vehicle. This is just always good for aerodynamics, and with everything blacked out, you don't even really notice it. Now, what you do notice, is the wiper that's tacked on the rear there. So I don't know what happened here with Chevrolet and GM because actually, you've probably noticed this. Like the Tahoe that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, they didn't put the wiper back there, did they? It's up here somewhere. So I don't know what happened with that. I don't know why they gave up on that, because the Traverse, actually the new Traverse doesn't have it either. Now moving on to the active trim, this is where this is where things aren't so good. They were so close here too, because it's obviously it's fundamentally the same car, but they managed to really screw it up. So my biggest complaint here is they added this chrome piece. And not only is it chrome, but it's huge. Why is it so big? Like, look at this. Like, if they wanted to add chrome, okay. But why change the design and add that huge piece? Especially when the active trim evidently gets the black bow tie badge, just like the RS model. So, it gets a more sportier looking badge, and then they threw all this chrome on there. So this doesn't look good at all. They need to fix this. In fact, I threw it in the Photoshop. Yes, blacked it out. And, especially on a more rugged off-road trim, that's kind of the thing you do anyways, is you kind of black out stuff. So I don't know who thought, not just putting chrome on, but putting a huge piece of chrome on. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. And then as you can see here in the Photoshopped version as well, I also decided to change the roof, or the A-pillar. Because, the white roof, it makes sense. It's functional, obviously. It's going to reduce the heat buildup inside the car on a hot summer day, sunny day. But I don't really like this look here of how it kind of comes all the way down. Now, of course, they'll say, well, from a manufacturing standpoint, that's why they, this wasn't something the designers really chose. It's probably just easier for them to have that part, the whole part white. But still, if we're talking about design, and this is a design review, then we got to critique it. So if they would have had like a blacked out E-pillar, as you see, like how I had it, not only would it match the C-pillar over here, but it would just look, the white roof wouldn't look so kind of just out of place and tacked on. It would kind of go with the design more, and it wouldn't be so noticeable. Because again, that's what we like about the black roof, right? We like the black roof because it makes the roof line actually less noticeable. So, of course you're going to have it be more noticeable with the white roof. But as we talked about, the functionality of it makes sense, especially on an off-road trim. You're going to be out, who knows, you might even be out in the desert, right? And and look at this, even from the side, you can see how ugly this chrome piece is. From the side of the vehicle, not even looking at the front. But I do like that they put some actual beefy, these look useful off-road, don't they? These tires. So they then just put like an all-terrain version or size, the same size. They actually beefed it up in addition to it being all-terrain. So yeah, that's actually a nice, it does look like you could take this thing through some mild off-roading, some overlanding in this thing, no problem. And, from the side and the rear here, actually it still looks really good. And I am kind of digging this color combination, this kind of like soft green with that white roof. That does look good. Now let's move on to kind of the standard trims here. So this is the, just your typical Equinox. There's probably the LS, LT, and maybe the Premier, something like that. It's just going to be equipment level differences, right? And maybe you get some nicer wheels. So they're all going to have generally the same look though. And on these trims, actually, I don't mind this. There is this chrome bar that goes all the way across, but that's it. There's no extra. They didn't try to throw anything extra on down here. The only thing is, I kind of wish they would have brought in that chrome. If they're going to have chrome on the front, I think there should be some on the back, just to match. So I threw this in the Photoshop and just kind of Photoshopped this little part here as like a chrome trim piece. And especially, like I said, on something like a top trim, like a Premier, I think it needs that. I think that would definitely add some separation. If you're going to spend, the whole appeal with this vehicle is you can get a lot of good features. Now you can get style, space, fuel economy. It's kind of the complete package, isn't it? And you don't have to spend a lot of money. But, you know, if you are going to spend, you know, 35, 40 grand and get the top trim, yeah, it needs to look a little bit nicer, a little bit more special. They did a really good job on the exterior. They did a fantastic job on the interior here. Really, because it's not hard. This is not hard, but so many car companies screw this up. Look at, we get an 11-inch screen, touchscreen here. That's 11-inch, and we get an 11-inch gauge cluster display as well. And this is like the perfect size, isn't it? Because it's big enough to see what you need to see without kind of being overwhelming, you know, without dominating the whole dashboard, without, you know, without giving you a headache, without making you feel like you're sitting in your cubicle at work. So yes, it's the perfect size, and it gets better. Actually, it gets a lot better, because guess what? We get physical controls, knobs for the climate control, and not just for the temperature. I mean, look at this. There's like literally a button for every single action that you could possibly do in the climate control, you know, whatever you want. There's a dedicated button for it, physical button. So this is amazing. This is amazing. You know, again, so many car companies, they throw all this stuff into the screen, and then of course that's how they justify it. They're like, well, if we're throwing the climate controls into the screen, we need to add an even bigger screen. And nobody likes that. You know, nobody likes that. So yeah, Chevrolet, you know, just this setup alone, proper size screens and all the climate controls, physical, ready, you know, easy to use. They're going to sell a ton of these just because of that. Because so many of the competitors, they have no clue. And then, you know, it is just nice. Yeah, it's a nice looking dashboard. This is kind of typical Chevrolet GM. You know, they do have these nice details on the air vents. And, you know, there is some like contrast stitching and stuff depending on, you know, which trim you get. And then, of course, yeah, this is what people love about the Equinox so much, is that you have good passenger space. You have like really good cargo space in here as well. And, you know, you're going to get good fuel economy. So, you know, the downside of that is, well, you know, it is using a 1.5 liter turbo engine, but it is a 4-cylinder. It's not the 3-cylinder. It's a 4-cylinder. So, you know, yes, you know, if you want to get good fuel economy, they got to do this. They got to go down this route. But, you know, this engine, they've been using this engine for a while now, so now you get it. You know, now you get it in this new package that looks fantastic as well.